Hey everyone, it's Steve from the garden. In today's video, I'm going to do a harvest of some of my in-ground first early potatoes. Then we'll take a comparison of those versus the root pouch grown first early potatoes. Over the past couple of years, I've been comparing the in-ground grown potatoes versus the container grown. And so far, the in-ground have always outproduced the container grown. But this year, I made a little change on that in that the root pouches were put in a very favorable location in the garden where they get a lot more sun than the in-ground do. So we'll see if that makes the difference in terms of the yield. So here's a row of the Prada, which is the same variety I harvested in the last video. And you can see the plants are starting to die back in this spot. So let's go ahead and just kind of dig down and see what we get. Now, one of the disadvantages of growing in the ground is that they are more difficult to dig up, and you run a greater risk of like stabbing them. I'm going to do the equivalent of 2 of the plants. Now in the containers, I put 4 seed potatoes in. But for the comparison today, I'm just going to harvest 2 plants worth. Or what I think is 2 plants worth. It's kind of hard to tell because these grow so closely together. You're not always sure where one ends and the other begins. I'm happy to see that the soil looks to be quite moist underneath here, which is definitely an advantage for the in-ground, is that they don't dry out as much. This is why I ended up harvesting from 3 plants. And I mean, these are okay size. This one's kind of split a little bit, but they're certainly not bad. And just like I said in the previous video, these size ones I will save for replanting as seed potatoes next spring. I have the bucket zeroed out, so let's go ahead and put the potatoes in, see how much they come out to. I ended up harvesting, I don't know, I guess maybe 3 plants worth. Like I said earlier, the root pouches had 4 seed potatoes in each, so it's maybe not a totally apples to apples comparison, but it should be close enough. So I ended up with 2 pounds and 12 ounces. So even though I didn't harvest the same number of plants, it's clear that the root pouch grown potatoes did outproduce the in-ground this year. So that's a first for the container grown. And I'm sure things like being at a better location where they got more sunlight was a deciding factor in the outcome. Hope you enjoyed this little comparison, got something out of it, and we'll see you on the next one. For anyone who didn't watch the first video where I harvested the root pouch, I'll leave a link to that right here.